Hi everyone, welcome to Eve Math Tutoring. Today's lesson is on factoring using the difference of squares. So the rule for factoring using the difference of squares is the following. If you have a squared minus b squared, that can be factored in the following way: a plus b and a minus b. Okay, that's the difference of squares. So say you were asked to factor the following. So if you were asked to factor 4x squared minus 9, then this could be written as 2x squared minus 3 all squared. So what you want to do is see if you can write the question in this form, a squared minus b squared. In this case we can, because we can put it as 2x squared and then 3 squared. And when we have it in that form, we could use this rule. So we would go ahead and fill in the information. So that would be 2x plus b in this case, which is 3, and over here it would be 2x minus b, which in this case is also 3. Okay, so that would be the answer. So we can try some more examples. So if you have y squared minus 1, in this one, if I tried to write it in the form a squared minus b squared, I would see that I have y squared and I have 1 all squared. So that would be y plus 1 and y minus 1 as our answer. Okay? So we can try another example. So if we had 9a squared minus 16b squared, if I tried to see if I could write this as something squared, I could write that as 3a squared minus this part would be 4b squared. So then I could use the rules of the differences of squares. That would be 3a plus 4b and then 3a minus 4b. Okay, so that would be the answer there. So it can be used anytime you see a question, an expression where you have something squared minus another thing squared. So a squared minus b squared. So those a's and b's could be anything, okay? And I'll just put a diagram like this so you can see that better. Okay, so let's try some more examples. So say you were asked to factor the following: 49x squared minus 9a squared y squared. So again, you want to see if you can write it in the form a squared minus b squared, which is equal to a minus b, a plus b. Or we could have written the plus and the minus. It could be written in any order. Here, we can write the plus first, since that's what we did on the other page. So that could be a plus b, a minus b. So if I wrote that, I would get, so 49, so that would be 7x all squared minus 3ay all squared. Okay. So at that point, if we went ahead and factored this, we would get 7x minus 3ay, or plus, sorry, and then 7x minus 3ay. Okay? And to see if your answer is right, you could always FOIL this, and if you FOIL it, you get back to this solution. That means you do have the correct answer. So that would be a way to check your answer. Okay? So what if you were asked to factor something like the following: 1 minus a squared b squared c squared? So again, you want to think of how you can express this so that you have something squared minus something else squared. So I could write it as 1 squared minus a b c all squared, something like that. So if I did, then I would have 1 plus abc and then 1 minus abc. Okay, so that's how we would factor that one. If we had a to the 4 minus b to the 6, we could write as a squared minus b 3 all squared. So that would be written as a squared plus b3, a squared minus b3, like that. Okay. So we could do a few more examples. So say we were given something like this. So if we had x to the 2a minus y to the 6b, we could write that as x to the a all squared minus y to the 3b all squared. So if I wrote that out, I would have x to the a plus y to the 3b, and then x to the a minus y to the 3b. Like that. Okay? And if you actually multiplied this out, you would get back to this answer over here. So we could try some more examples. So say we had 1 over x squared minus 1 over y squared. So that would be 1 over x all squared minus 1 over y all squared. So that would be written as 1 over x plus 1 over y and 1 over x minus 1 over y. So that's how that would be written out. Here if we had a plus b squared minus x squared, that one could be written as a plus b. Oh, that one we don't even need to rewrite because as you can see it's already written in the same form as a squared minus b squared. So it would just be a plus b, that part, plus x, and then a plus b minus x. You could write the minus first and then the plus. The order doesn't actually make a difference because it's multiplication. So we can try some more examples. Say we're factoring, factor x to the 4 minus y to the 4. So that can be written as x all squared minus y squared all squared, like that. So that would be x squared plus y squared, and then x squared minus y squared, like that. Squared minus x squared. That could be written, so this one could be written in the following way: 2 squared minus x squared. So that would be 2 plus x and then 2 minus x. Okay. So as you see, there's a whole bunch of different examples that we can do using this rule. Let's try one more. So you had 25a squared minus 9b squared. So again, if you can write the answer right off the bat, or you can try to write them as squares first. And then when you do that, you can see clearer what it's going to be. So 5a minus 3b. Okay. That's another example. So I want to show you a few examples that look a little bit different. Say you're given something like the following. So if you have, say, and you're asked to factor, and you're keeping in mind the rule, which is for difference of squares. If you have something in the form a squared minus b squared, it can be factored using this, a plus b, a minus b. So say you were asked to factor something like the following. So m to the 2n minus n to the 2m. So if I wanted to write that out, m to the n squared minus n to the m all squared. You would write it like this, so a squared minus b squared. So that would become m to the n plus n to the m, and then the other part would be m to the n minus n to the m. Okay, so that was a little bit tricky because you have to see how can you express this as something that's squared. Well, it's m to the n times n to the n, because when you multiply m to the n times m to the n, you do get m to the 2n. You add the exponents, you keep the same base and add the exponents, right? And this is the same thing as m to the n all squared, because it's just m to the n multiplied by itself. So it equals this, which equals that. What if you were asked to factor something like this, m to the 4 minus n to the 4? Well, in that case, again, you want to rewrite it. So it's going to be m squared all squared minus n squared all squared, right? So then once you have it in that form, you can write it as m squared plus n squared, and then m squared minus n squared. And then if you look carefully, we can actually go further, because this is another, we could factor this using the difference of squares. This you can't, a squared plus b squared, but this you could factor further. This could be factored further as m plus n and m minus n. Okay. What if we had this example? This one I could rewrite as a to the 4 all squared minus b to the 4 all squared, right? So then I could rewrite this as a to the 4 plus b to the 4, a to the 4 minus b to the 4, like that. Okay. This part here could be factored further using the difference of squares. This could be written as a squared plus b squared, and then a squared minus b squared, so that part. And then this part again can be factored further. So it's a to the 4 plus b to the 4, a squared plus b squared, and then this part here will be factored further as a plus b, a minus b, like that. Okay. So that would be the answer for that part. Okay, so let's try another example. So when you get something like this, you do have to factor as much as possible until you get to the final answer. So say you have something like this. 9 to the 2n minus 4b to the 4n. We can write this as 9 to the n all squared minus 2b to the 2n all squared. So this would give me 9 to the 2, and this here would give 2, the 2 goes into the power of both things. The 2 right here has a power of 1, and b has a power of 2n, so that would become 4 to the b to the 4n if I multiplied it out. Okay? So then once you put it in this form, now you can go ahead and do this part, 9n plus 2b to the 2n, and then 9n minus 2b to the 2n. So that will be your answer there. Okay? So that's it. So that's factoring using the difference of squares. So I hope that helped you understand that topic a little bit better. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.